so happy we alive.
For giving somebody an ounce of marijuana, but if they were a kid, you could get double that. You could get 10 years to 40 years first offense for an ounce of marijuana to a teenager if you were 21. But they didn't have the forfeiture stuff. And they also had a law, and they didn't have all the visiting common nuisance stuff, and they didn't have all that in there. But what they did have is a provision in the Indiana law that was changed in '76 that said it was a defense to possession of marijuana if you had a prescription from a doctor and a valid practitioner in the course of treatment. It was a defense, absolutely, to possession of marijuana. Now, people don't realize that. I tell that to lawyers, and they look at me like, oh, you gotta be shitting me. But that's the truth. Well, that's California now. And I said, actually, this is a little better than California. And it was in Indiana, and it was in the '70s. But people forget about that. We had a medical marijuana bill here. And so they had a more compassionate thing there, but it wasn't ever used. And since that time, what we have now, let's go to the laws now. So I think we had some success in reducing penalties along with the national mood in the '70s with reducing the penalties in Indiana when we started normal 25 years ago. I think we had some success. I also filed my first lawsuit in federal court in 1975, which was my first federal case. I was just a brand new lawyer. And it was called Normal versus Sendak, and Ted Sendak was the Attorney General at the time, and I got the first time in the United States history where paraphernalia laws were declared unconstitutional in federal court for violating the right against vagueness and overbreadth because anything was a roach clip, including going to the Ace Hardware store or whatever, and Judge Dillon, not no relation, even agreed with me, and until they vacated the opinion in a political move in the Seventh Circuit, and they immediately made an emergency and passed a new one under a model act. That was a very good success, and I'm still very proud of that case. But we had some success in the early '70s in Indiana and throughout the United States with these 12, I think maybe even 13 states got decriminalized, and Alaska was legal in the 1975 case of Raven v. State. Okay, the laws over time have gone back and forth and whatever. Let me tell you what they are today now. This is what we're starting with. This is our starting point with Normal to see if we can change these laws in Indiana. What we're starting with is first offense, possession of marijuana up to 30 grams is an A misdemeanor, punishable by up to 1 year in jail and a $5,000 fine, and mandatory suspension of your driver's license for 6 months, and your car's busted. Suspension of any plates and registration in your own name. Well, hopefully I'll remember to get back to that because that's so absurd the way they do that with the license. And under the laws of Indiana, even for 1 ounce of marijuana first offense misdemeanor, and you're losing your license, you're also supposed to have paid drug taxes on that. We have a controlled substance excise tax law in Indiana, which the people in this office have been monumentally involved in the beginning of this against fighting the controlled substance excise tax. Andy Marinowski and I have done a lot of work in the area. Ross has done some too. We've gone to the Supreme Court on it and argued in Indiana and argued this case, and they've changed it, I think partly in response to some of the work we've done here on that law. It used to be on the controlled substance excise tax that you had to pay $40 per gram or fractional part of a gram every 2 days down at the Department of Revenue in Indianapolis at the only window where they have a camera over it. And of course, if it's over $10,000 you're supposed to pay, then you've got to fill out a currency form, give them your name and everything, even though it's confidential. And they do take checks, however, on smaller amounts. And then you can pay cash. It's the only window with a camera. Andy did a test case with me on this to set up our lawsuit against this controlled substance excise tax, or to do some work against it. And just to see how confidential it really was, he said he had a Schedule 4 codeine pill, and he wanted to pay his tax on it. And they said okay, and he never gave him a name. And before he got down back here to this office from down at the Department of Revenue at the state office building, the old SOB, before he got up there, we already had a call from Channel 8 wanting to interview him. He didn't give him a name, but they must have just figured it was from our office. I don't know, but that's how confidential it was. We had people that were assessed up to $12 million for their marijuana. That was 300 pounds worth, comes out to $6 million. There's a 100% penalty, so it got up to $12 million and $1,000 a day interest on just marijuana. And then the law is back down to where it is today. Now, the only reason the law is different today for controlled substance excise taxes is because the government wants to be able to bust you and take your money. It's not because they're being compassionate on marijuana. It was a double jeopardy argument that you're being punished so severely by paying $80 because it's a 100% penalty if they catch you with pot and you haven't got your receipt and they didn't bust you within the 48 hours of receipt for your dope at $40 a gram. Then they hit you for $80 a gram. That's like $1,200 an ounce or something. I mean, it gets pretty damn expensive. And if you're supposed to do that every 2 days, it kind of encourages drug use. But they've reduced the amount you owe on your marijuana to $3 a gram so that they can prosecute you and go after you and your house and property for your tax lien they put against you when they bust you. So we do have a tax law in effect. Now let's say you're growing pot in Indiana right now. You're supposed to pull out the damn plants and weigh them and tell them how much you got.
So you're breaking down again, and you're thinking I never ever win, 'cause things didn't go your way. You wanna up and throw it all away. What can I say? What can I do? Is it up to me or is it up to you? Had I the potion for a pain so close, give us both a double mega dose. But sure as far, you're gonna be fine. Give yourself a little loving time. Lullabies and nursery rhymes can carry you through the rocky times. Remember, stars still shine at night, and the sun still rises bright. Cool, clear water's always good to drink, and life's about as good we think. So you're breaking down again, and you're thinking I never ever win, 'cause things didn't go your way. You wanna up and throw it all away. What can I say? What can I do? Is it up to me or is it up to you? Had I the potion for a pain so close, I'd give us both a double mega dose. But sure as fire, you're gonna be fine. Give yourself a little loving time. Lullabies and nursery rhymes can carry you through the rocky times. Remember, stars still shine at night, and the sun still rises bright. Cool, clear water's always good to drink, and life's about as good we